Good day everyone, Neo Mythmaster here with an atypical custom Marvel Rivals video. The kits I've designed for today are technically not for Marvel Rivals though. Outside of a few elements, they might as well be. To explain what I mean, I would like to make you aware of a channel called Flavor Goblin. Flavor Goblin makes custom Marvel Rivals kits as well, but most importantly, has a video making concepts for Skylanders Rivals, which, as the name suggests, is basically Marvel Rivals with Skylanders. I will link that video in the description and highly recommend checking it out before watching this, as it explains some new concepts, such as areas on the map affecting Skylanders based on their element, and also just because this video would not exist without it. With Flavor Goblin's permission, I got to work on this video, which contains, as you've probably figured out from the thumbnail and title, custom Rivals kits for the Trap Team Skylanders, Food Fight and Snapshot, who were the first Skylanders I ever owned. First up, we have Food Fight, who'd be a strategist of the life element, with 250 health and a difficulty of 2 stars. His primary fire would allow him to shoot tomatoes that damage enemies and heal allies, and his right click would make him shoot a blast of zucchini, which would kind of explode and become a puddle that slows enemies and speeds up allies. His left shift lets him jump onto a tomato and roll around for a few seconds, increasing his speed and supercharging any doom blooms he goes over. What are doom blooms, you may ask? Well, they are his next ability. He can place up to 3 of them down at a time, and when a character other than him goes within about 1 meter of it, it will explode. If activated by an enemy, it deals damage. If activated by an ally, it does healing. But if you supercharged it, then the explosion radius is much bigger, and it does both healing and damage. For his ultimate Veggie Mayhem, he summons a large Doom Bloom, maybe around the size and shape of Penny Parker's spider nest in Marvel Rivals, and it periodically shoots tomatoes and zucchini blasts all around it, so basically it rains down healing on your allies, as well as making the ground very sticky to slow down your enemies and speed up your allies. He has a team up passive called 5-Day, which basically means if you have another live Skylander on your team, then your Zucchini Blast also heal allies who are standing in them, and this healing is increased for each subsequent live Skylander you have on your team. Food Fight is a support whose kit revolves around area abilities and constructs, as he fires tomatoes and pops out Doom Blooms. He can use Super Tomato to make his Doom Blooms more consistent, and combining this with Zucchini Blast, he can get around very fast if needed. Like Invisible Woman, he has ways of dealing with flankers by either laying down Doom Blooms to damage them, slowing them with Zucchini Blasts, to make it easier for your vanguards to turn on them, or just escaping with Super Tomato. Next up, we have Snapshot, who I've decided would be a vanguard, and obviously he is a water element Skylander, and I decided to give him 500 health and a difficulty of 3 stars. He would have a passive ability called Aqua Affinity, which would be an environmental passive, and if he's in water, his fully charged Traptanium arrows, and the final hit of his Traptanium sword combo, deal additional AoE damage by kind of letting out a small water explosion. He would have 2 primary fires, the first being basically just a burn arrow which he can charge up, and the second being essentially a sword, and with his Traptanium blade, every 3rd consecutive hit would, instead of just being a swipe, he would slam it down over his head, dealing extra damage to whoever it hit. And his right click would just be a stance switch ability, but he would have a cooldown of 2 seconds, so he's not constantly switching between weapons. Again, with his left shift ability, Tidal Control, he has a choice of basically 2 different abilities. By clicking left click, he would use Ocean's Defense, which would mean a water force field would form around the targeted ally, making them immune to damage for 3 seconds, and the right click Whirlpool would send a whirlpool surging towards the targeted enemy, and when it reached them it would immobilize them for 3 seconds, basically meaning they can't move or use their movement abilities, and this would not work on flying characters, It'd kind of just go towards them, and then when it was underneath them, it would fizzle out. His E ability, Watermaster, would upgrade his primary fire for a few seconds, meaning that when he shot an arrow, a small spread of shards would kind of go out the side, and it's kind of like Genji's shurikens in Overwatch, but the center one is much bigger and does a lot more damage. And as for Traptanian Blade, well, it would grant nearby allies shield health whenever he successfully hit an enemy with it. And this would be one of those abilities, like Food Fight's Tomato Roll, which I don't think I did mention, that basically the cooldown starts when the ability ends. His ultimate Tsunami Smash works similarly to the Thing's, in terms of he smashes his weapon into the ground and makes Traptanian shards shoot up out of the ground in front of him in a path, throwing enemies into the air and damaging them. But while the Thing's ultimate stuns them, snapshots would only, well, it would apply a slow effect to them. Plus, I imagine the Traptanian shards might linger for a bit, which would act as a wall, but they wouldn't last that long. If he had a live Skylander on his team, Snapshot would get access to the ability Piercing Shot, which would basically mean he shoots forward a Traptanium arrow infused with life energy, so it would be glowing green a bit, and it would pierce all shields, enemies and allies, damaging enemies and healing allies as it goes through. Snapshot is a very offensive tank with few ways of defending his team, other than Ocean's Defense, Watermaster when he's using his sword, and his overall size, but he makes up for this in versatility, being able to deal damage at any range, and having lots of ways of slowing his opponents. If you've made it this far, then thanks for watching and consider subscribing not only to this channel but to Flavor Goblins as well, plus maybe my second channel, which I'll also probably link in the description, and in which I'm making my own custom MCU. I'm going to try and post this in time to make it before the Marvel Rivals video I have scheduled for Halloween, because I do have a Marvel Rivals video scheduled for Halloween, and it does have actual Marvel characters in it. Plus, I'm working on some kits for some other characters which have been suggested to me, though over a year ago. So if you suggest a Marvel character for me to make, I might eventually get around to making it, but it may take a while. Have a good day, and ta-ta.